Chapter 31 Defense Enhancement, Invisibility. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong and Xia Anqi drove back to the villa area, under the gaze of many pairs of eyes, both openly and secretly. The fortress wall slowly opened the electric gate. The two of them drove the car in calmly, even if they were frightened by Chen Dong's previous bloody methods, and the person who planned it still hangs on the public flower bed in the villa area. It does not affect some survivors who still miss Chen Dong's materials and barriers. One of the survivors lowered the curtains, looked away from spying on Chen Dong, and sighed. I really don't understand where 10,086 got so many supplies, and even got electricity. His teammates could only comfort him, be content, at least we still have a place to rest. The snooping survivor sighed with emotion. Damn it, when I get the supplies for the battle one day, I will go directly to 10,086's lair. That the teammate laughed and scolded. I want to go up to you. You haven't seen enough of the air-dried bacon in the flower beds in the park. You still want to go up and hang it yourself, right? Don't think about it. We will collect supplies tomorrow. You can kill a few more zombies. Real. The survivor who was complained about by his teammates was not angry. He just scratched his head and said, Grandma, of course I know. 10,086's material resources are bottomless. If I provoke him, won't I die? Chen Dong parked the car in the garage and lowered the electric rolling shutter door. As Xia Anqi walked, she counted on her fingers. Chen Dong, we got a lot of supplies this time when we went out, several boxes of bread, towels, clothes, etc. Well, Chen Dong. Chen Dong, where are you going? Just as Xia Anqi was talking to herself, checking supplies, and turned to look at Chen Dong, she found that Chen Dong was not around and there was no one around. Xia Anqi suddenly felt that her butt was slapped, but when she turned around, she saw no one. Then, his face was pinched again. G-Ghost? Xia Anqi was startled. He immediately took out his crossbow and held it against his chest, looking left and right at the air. Huh, are you shocked? Chen Dong suddenly appeared in front of Xia Anqi. Only then did Xia Anqi realize that everything just now was Chen Dong's prank. But how is this done? You're scaring me again, so you're not afraid that I'll shoot you to death with an arrow. And, what happened just now? Did you get any new abilities? You don't even know that your sudden appearance just now scared me to death. Xia Anqi kept asking questions. Chen Dong touched Xia Anqi's head and pretended to be pitiful. I just wanted to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect to scare you. Oh, it's so sad. Xia Anqi looked at Chen Dong's aggrieved expression and felt a little soft-hearted. Chen Dong, I didn't mean that. I'm just a little scared. I don't mean to blame you. Chen Dong did not speak, but pointed at his face. Xia Anqi stood up on tiptoes and kissed Chen Dong on the face. Chen Dong nodded with satisfaction. Well, that's cool. I forgive you. Xia Anqi was stunned. That's not right. It was obvious that he was frightened by Chen Dong, so why should he apologize to Chen Dong? Xia Anqi, who knew that Chen Dong had led her into an alley, was extremely embarrassed. Okay, stinky Chen Dong, you are teasing me again. I will ignore you. Chen Dong laughed and hugged Xia Anqi. The two sat on the sofa in the living room. Chen Dong smiled and said to the angry Xia Anqi, who let you be fooled by me so easily? Do you think you are stupid? Xia Anqi blushed with embarrassment and reached out to squeeze Chen Dong's thigh, but found that she couldn't. Huh? Xia Anqi was a little confused. You know, even if Chen Dong's body fat percentage was very low before, he would not keep his body muscles so tight and congested. It seems that it is not the hardness of the muscles, but the hardness of the superficial skin. Did you find it? Chen Dong smiled. Xia Anqi is a doctor herself and soon discovered the changes in Chen Dong. The elasticity of the surface skin is still the same, as if it is coated with a thin invisible protective film to protect Chen Dong's whole body. Xia Anqi asked curiously, is this the physical enhancement provided after reaching the 10th level? Chen Dong shrugged, he doesn't know either. The system is just a reminder that reaching the 10th level will lead to physical strengthening. However, it is unclear which aspects have been strengthened. What I feel so far is that my defensive ability has improved a lot. Chen Dong took out a dagger and slashed it on his arm, but it was just a red mark and did not cut the skin. Xia Anqi was shocked by Chen Dong's self-mutilation, and took Chen Dong's arm to check. I was relieved to find that there was indeed no injury. Then came the great surprise. I scratched it with a knife and there was no injury. Chen Dong withdrew the dagger and said, "If you use the knife to cut, you can't cut my skin unless you use special force. However, during the battle, others will definitely kill you, and you will still be injured. However, it can reduce a lot of damage, or not bad." Then, Chen Dong disappeared out of thin air in front of Xia Anqi, but Xia Anqi could still feel that she was still holding Chen Dong's hand. The next moment, Chen Dong appeared in front of Xia Anqi again. "That's the second change I noticed," Xia Anqi said in amazement. "Is this invisibility? This is amazing. This is unscientific." After saying that, Xia Anqi was immediately amused by what she said. "Waking up, I found myself in the doomsday world, with zombies and a window like a game interface. It was unscientific enough." She actually said it was unscientific when facing invisibility. "It was just nonsense," Chen Dong said. "It seems to be a skill, and I don't see any restrictions. I can use it if I want. This skill is really a god skill for stealth." I suddenly thought of hiding behind the zombies and directly having a beautiful scene of a big explosion. Kathy K covered her mouth and was amused by what Chen Dong said. Then he asked, "Chen Dong, is there any disadvantage of this invisibility? In addition, are there any changes in your physical values?" Chen Dong clicked on his personal information and said, "The change is not big, but it feels good enough. It is basically the limit that a normal person can reach, right? Number 10086, level, 10, 0/1000, strength, 20. Agility, 20. Stamina, abundant, skills, stealth." Xia Anqi looked at Chen Dong's personal data, pondered for a while, and said, "I think this should be the system intentionally stuck at a value of 20, and wait until everyone's level comes up, to ensure that no one will be eliminated due to physical fitness, and let us rely more on supplies to deal with zombies and other threatening survivors. Of course, it is also possible that the values will have other uses in the later stage. All this is still the system's decision." Chapter 32, Hot Weather, Eating Popsicles with Air Conditioning On. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Indeed, as Xia Anqi said, Chen Dong simply believed that upgrading would bring numerical improvements to the point of breaking mountains and rocks, but it's not. When I reached level 10, the skill popped up directly. "Come to this zombie world of doomsday, escape and let the survivors upgrade and learn skills like game players." Chen Dong couldn't understand what the system, or the mastermind behind bringing them to the zombie world, was thinking. Chen Dong shook his head and didn't want to think about such a long time ago. After all, even if he knew the inside story, he couldn't solve it. It is most practical to focus on the present. Chen Dong said to Xia Anqi, "Anqi, let's try this concealment skill and see the beauty of this skill." To master a new skill, it is natural to master it as soon as possible. Moreover, he can't communicate stupidly in the chat channel, because he doesn't know if he is the only one who possesses this skill, without knowing anyone else. This would be a trump card. If you are careless and expose your information directly in the chat channel, it may really lead to more deaths. He didn't think he could wake up and be the enemy of the whole world. Right now, I can only continue to experiment with this skill and learn it thoroughly. Xia Anqi nodded and said, "Okay, let's figure out this stealth skill together." After an afternoon of experiments, the two summarized the use and limitations of this concealment skill. Stealth skills will completely hide oneself, including shadows. When used, however, it does not block the sound. Therefore, during the experiment, Xia Anqi judged Chen Dong's approximate location several times from Chen Dong's breathing and footsteps. Zombies have a very sensitive sense of smell. This is critical. The two agreed that this stealth skill was perfect for assassination, or an absolute magic skill in noisy environments. Especially sneaking into the enemy, survivors do not have the keen sense of hearing and smell that zombies do. For Chen Dong, obtaining stealth skills is no less than a gold-level supply box. He was satisfied. The day after Chen Dong reached level 10 and mastered the stealth skill, the climate of this world experienced its second change since the last heavy rain. when Chen Dong and others got up early this morning. They were woken up by the heat. Judging by the time, it is now the time of autumn when the air is crisp and clear, and you won't be woken up by the heat at all, but the fact is that Chen Dong and the others were covered in sweat when they woke up, and their backs were soaked, even though it was early in the morning. The sun was shining brightly in the sky, even if the strong ultraviolet rays did not directly shine on Chen Dong. The sunny room where Chen Dong lived was already steaming like an oven. Chen Dong climbed out of bed, covered his eyes with his hands, and looked out the window. It seemed as if the street was being distorted by the high temperature. Chen Dong was speechless. This kind of bad weather is almost reaching the Sahara Desert. Chen Dong touched the iron grating of the window with his hand. It was so hot that he could still feel the burning sensation after several minutes. It seems that there is no way to go out today. If you go out in this kind of weather, you may get heatstroke or die of thirst. Chen Dong was a little helpless. He also thought about taking Xia Anqi out today and letting Xia Anqi reach level 10 to verify whether the skills were exclusive to him. Now I have no choice but to stay in the villa and repair it. By the way, scan the goods on the trading platform. If you are lucky and come across something good, you never know. Even if he couldn't find satisfactory supplies, Chen Dong still wanted to sell something. The unlimited supplies obtained in the past few days are all daily necessities. Shampoo, shower gel, laundry detergent, etc. Presumably some people will need it. Even though bathing is a very luxurious thing nowadays, there are always people who can't help it. If you don't take a shower for so many days, you will become a homeless person. With these unlimited supplies, if you can trade some of the scarce supplies that Chen Dong reserves, such as steel sheets, lime, alum and other hardware supplies, as well as chemical supplies, it will definitely not be a loss. Turn on the air conditioner and eat homemade Coke. Popsicles. Chen Dong clicked on the chat channel and planned to promote his products in the public chat. However, everyone seems to be complaining about today's extreme weather. Number 435664, it's too hot today. I slept on the top of a mountain in the wild, setting up a tent. I thought I was being carried into the crematorium. Now I'm lying on a tree to enjoy the coolness, but I still feel so hot. Number 834539, which one of you is worse than me? I got up early today. I originally planned to hike across a plain, but I watched the sun rise and now I can't even find a place to enjoy the shade. I drank all the water from Grandma. 3 bottles are still not enough. I feel like I'm going to die in the sun. Crying expression. Number 394793, today's temperature is outrageous. It's even more outrageous than we thought in the past. Try not to go out. If you have to go outside, try to wear sun protection and wear long sleeves, otherwise you will really die from the sun. Number 837291, yes, even the deserts in the Middle East are not at this temperature. This temperature can definitely burn people to death. Number 324655, there was acid rain before, and now it's hot. Will it be hail next time? Number 38784, shut up, brother. But it's not impossible. I'm afraid it's raining knives from the sky, ha ha ha. Number 10086, it's okay. I turned on the air conditioner at 20 degrees, but it still feels a little cold, attached with a picture showing the temperature when the air conditioner is turned on. I want to cover myself with a quilt. Many survivors who were typing saw the message sent by Chen Dong, and their hands froze instantly. The annoying 10,086 appeared again, then they began to criticize 10086 in the past. 10,000, 10086, you are here to attract hatred again, right? Huh, but there is nothing to be jealous of. I am soaking in the bathtub now, it is so cool. 10010, you guys, are you also here for Versailles? You have thick eyebrows and big eyes, but I didn't expect you to be a guy who betrayed the revolution. Number 347923, well, shouldn't you be paying attention to 10,086, why can he use the air conditioner? Number 495839, hiss. It seems so, how can 10086 use the air conditioner? Does he have electricity? F***CK. Number 397454, no. I can't accept it. I haven't even finished my meal, how can someone live a petty bourgeoisie life? Number 894759, not really, brother. It's been more than a week and you're still struggling to make ends meet. Number 397454, wow, I'm useless. I have to eat 2 meals a day now, tearful expression. Number 10086, ahem, I've used up electricity for several days. Come on, there will be bread, milk, and everything. Number 93749, I never thought that there would still be classes in the doomsday world, and I'm still the miserable shovel class. Number 10086, I almost forgot to say that I've put some shampoo, shower gel, laundry detergent, etc. on the shelves. You can buy whatever you want. The price is cheap and I'm honest. Chapter 33 New Business Opportunity, Selling Popsicles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Dong saw a new business opportunity in the chat channel. The current survivors are all troubled by the hot weather. He has a refrigerator, so he can make popsicles by himself and then sell them to the survivors. He is not worried at all that the popsicles cannot be sold. There are so many survivors, and there are always people who can't stand the heat and buy popsicles to cool down. Chen Dong immediately called Xianqi, and after talking, he happily prepared to make simple popsicles in batches. Simply pour Coke or other drinks into the box mold you made, and then put a wooden stick in it casually, and adjust the refrigerator temperature to the lowest. It won't take long before a large box of popsicles is ready. Chen Dong opened the chat channel. Number 10086, brothers, do you want to eat popsicles? Attached with a picture of a popsicle. Number 348458, not really, people shouldn't, at least not, damn, you are here to attract hatred again, right? 10,086. Number 834674, I like eating popsicles the most in summer. Please 10086, give me a popsicle. Good people will have a peaceful life. Number 34582, dragons and tigers fight for the red spider lily. Mr. Wong will give you a home. Thousands of mountains and rivers are always love. Can you give me a popsicle? Number 10086, don't talk about these useless things. I put it on the trading platform, you can buy it. There are even survivors who privately chat with Chen Dong. Number 34543, little brother, let me show you something nice, give me 2 popsicles. Afterwards, Chen Dong received a photo from the survivor. It was extremely erotic. The survivor pulled down the collar of his shirt, revealing his broad mind. Unfortunately, Chen Dong was unmoved and even sneered. I thought he was the Chen Dong who used to laugh and joke with his friends in the group in order to get a mysterious link. He actually wanted to bribe him with some coquettish pictures. Chen Dong sent a message with a teasing mentality, saying to the survivor, what can you see here, take it off. What he didn't expect was that the female survivor actually sent a disgusting picture just for a few popsicles. Obviously, she was already familiar with it, and it was not the first time she used her body to exchange for supplies. Otherwise, she would at least hesitate. Not long after, the other party even sent a short video. In the video, she kept touching herself and panting, teasing, little brother, if you want me to eat some other sticks, it's not impossible. Chen Dong looked at the passerby's face without any beauty. Not only did he not have any emotional waves, but he even wanted to turn it off directly, but he still wanted to promote his product. That's it. If you want to eat popsicles, trade them with supplies. I can give you a discount for your hard work. Number 34543, unlucky. You should have said it earlier, wasting my time. Chen Dong just replied with a smiling expression and didn't say much, not to mention being angry, and even a little bit emotional. This is the first time I've encountered such a thing of selling meat in exchange for supplies, and I always feel a little weird. Maybe, this is a common problem for men, pull decent women into the water and persuade prostitutes to become good. In this world, there is no right or wrong, but everyone lives differently. Chen Dong suddenly touched the head of Xianqi, who was sitting next to him and seriously shopping on the trading platform, and said, my wife is still the best. Xianqi blushed a little when she heard Chen Dong's unexplained sigh. Who is your wife? I haven't recognized her yet. Although they haven't known each other for many days, the two of them still came together naturally. After all, in the doomsday world, feelings are like dry wood and raging fire, which can be ignited at a touch. No matter the future, if you want to be together, you will be together naturally. In the past, the union of adults carried too many burdens, talking about marriage, cars and houses, and gifts. Heavy burdens can crush young people. However, in the doomsday world, Chen Dong and Karen Mok do not need to consider these, and do not care about the past identity and class gap. Here, they can show each other's backs to each other without reservation, and rely on each other. Chen Dong smiled and said, "It's nothing. Just now, a woman sent me a sexy picture to exchange for popsicles, and I sent her away without even looking at it. Isn't it amazing?" Karen Mok rolled her eyes. "Chen Dong, I find that your face is getting thicker and thicker." Chen Dong laughed and hugged Karen Mok. Is that so? Why didn't I feel it?" Rather than saying that Chen Dong's face has become thicker, it is better to say that in front of Karen Mok, he showed his true self. If possible, Chen Dong even thought that he could find a paradise with Xia Anqi in the zombie world, where men farm and women weave, which seems to be good. Unfortunately, such a beautiful vision can only exist in fantasy. After the extremely hot weather, Chen Dong and Xia Anqi re-entered the intense battle to collect supplies, as more and more survivors began to come to the villa area where Chen Dong and his friends were. Chen Dong had a great sense of crisis. Chen Dong knew that once there were more survivors, one day he would be attacked by a group. He was rich in supplies, just like the boss in the game that players need to team up to fight. If he was defeated, all the supplies would drop: barrier walls, P-92 pistols, gasoline generators, and even Xia Anqi. All of these will be taken over by others. Such an outcome is unacceptable to Chen Dong. Therefore, Chen Dong showed a more nervous and urgent mentality than before, just to collect more advanced and more useful materials, so that he can resist when danger comes. In the wild, several zombies were attracted by Xia Anqi's crossbow arrows, but suddenly fell to the ground. Then blood flowed from the back of the head. Chen Dong appeared from behind several zombies. Since Chen Dong learned the hiding skill, Xia Anqi was responsible for attracting the attention of a small number of zombies in front, and then Chen Dong approached to shoot or assassinate. Because of the close distance, Chen Dong's hit rate rose sharply. This made their hunting zombies more efficient. Xia Anqi came over and asked, "Chen Dong, do we still want to continue?" Chen Dong looked at the time and shook his head. "No, let's go back. It's almost noon and we need to replenish our lunch supplies. Let's go back to the villa and have a good rest." On the way back, Xia Anqi looked at the content in the chat channel and said jokingly, "It seems that 10086, who has been making everyone sleepless recently, has fallen out of favor. No one has talked about you much these days. It's not like they were scolding you a few days ago. It's really annoying." Chen Dong held the steering wheel and said nonchalantly, "It's good to be quiet. It's just right for us to reduce our attention. Take this opportunity to collect more supplies. But I'm still curious. Is the man called the sheriff so powerful?" Xia Anqi smiled and said, "No matter how powerful he is not as powerful as you." Chen Dong enjoyed Xia Anqi's affirmation. No man would not be satisfied with the affirmation from his own wife. Chen Dong maintained his superficial calmness and said, "Well, it's true." Chapter 34. The sheriff suddenly appeared and destroyed two forces. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recently, a man who calls himself the sheriff has become famous. The chat channel is full of discussions about this sheriff. Number 45346. Do you know that recently there is a man called the sheriff who is recruiting soldiers and expanding his power? Number 34534, isn't this strange? Didn't Zhou Shujian and Niu Ziqiang and others build the same power? Number 45346, I can tell at a glance that you are not well informed. The village just got an internet cafe. Niu Ziqiang's power was destroyed by the sheriff. Number 453536, what? Didn't Niu Ziqiang's team have more than a dozen people destroyed? How is it possible? Number 646754, I also heard about this matter. The sheriff seemed to have a lot of supplies. In the middle of the night, he took 2 or 3 people and threw several Molotov cocktails and grenades into Niu Ziqiang's villa. Niu Ziqiang and others were burned to death. Number 355663, fuck. Is it so scary? So, this sheriff is now expanding his power and then dominating. Number 94785, of course, you are talking nonsense. However, I heard that the treatment at the sheriff's place is quite good. It doesn't matter whether you have combat supplies or not. As long as you go there, you can get food and water. Number 346533, is there such a good thing? I only have a fruit knife on me. Will he accept me if I go to the sheriff's place? Number 234546, of course, I saw with my own eyes that a survivor who had run out of supplies went to the sheriff and the sheriff took him in. Number 12315, hello everyone, I am the sheriff. I can assure you that as long as you join our big family, we are a family, supporting and helping each other, surviving together in this doomsday world to the end, and looking for the dawn of hope. This is my coordinate, 250, 857, I will be here to sincerely wait for you. In the chat channel, other survivors were discussing the sheriff. Unexpectedly, the sheriff showed up in person and issued a recruitment order. This shocked many survivors. After Niu Ziqiang was eliminated and replaced by the sheriff, Zhou Shujian was also very nervous. You know, the sheriff is not far from him. Sooner or later, he will have a conflict with the sheriff. Zhou Shujian's confidant is very worried that this day will come early. So he suggested that Zhou Shujian take the initiative. Zhou Shujian sat on a leather chair and shook his wine glass. He was thinking, the sheriff's power grew so fast that in just a few days, he had a tendency to catch up with Zhou Shujian's team. If you don't go all out to kill the other party as soon as possible, when the sheriff is fully grown, it will be really powerless to turn the tide. After comprehensively comparing the strength of both sides, Zhou Shujian finally made up his mind and agreed to the advice of his confidant. Ready to take action against the sheriff one night, Zhou Shujian's men came out in full force, ambush at the stronghold where the sheriff was. Zhou Shujian, with his face covered, waited until the time was right, and when the sheriff sent some people out for patrol, he waved his hand. In the dark night, more than a dozen people rushed in, but they found that the sheriff was already sitting in the living room drinking tea, smiling at them. He was obviously prepared. The sheriff was a middle-aged man with a big back-combed hair and a beard. The years left some traces on his face, making his handsome face more mature. Zhou Shujian looked at the calm sheriff, and his heart twitched, realizing that he might have fallen into a trap. The sudden sharp pain from behind made Zhou Shujian unable to speak. He groaned and hurriedly dodged forward. Turning his head, he found that an assassin appeared behind him at some point, holding a sharp knife, and Zhou Shujian's blood was dripping on the ground. Then, suddenly several people in Zhou Shujian's team killed their unsuspecting teammates. Before Zhou Shujian could figure out the situation, a large number of his brothers fell. Only some traitors who walked behind the sheriff with knives were left. Zhou Shujian muttered to himself, impossible, teammates can't cause direct harm to each other, how did you do it? The confidant who had proposed to Zhou Shujian to attack the sheriff at night was also standing behind the sheriff at this time. He heard Zhou Shujian's question and stood up, smiling. Mr. Zhou, teammates can't hurt each other, but what if they are not? The traitors took off their masks and revealed faces that Zhou Shujian was unfamiliar with. Only then did Zhou Shujian realize that he didn't know when his men had been replaced by the sheriff's internal response. Zhou Shujian, who had lost too much blood, pointed at the confidant who betrayed him before he died, and cursed viciously, "You are such a capricious villain. You will not die well." Falling down with a puff, Zhou Shujian died with hatred. When Zhou Shujian's confidant saw him die, he ran to Zhou Shujian without any hesitation, took out all the supplies, and smiled awkwardly in front of the sheriff to offer flowers to Buddha. "Sheriff, I have fulfilled my mission. These are all Zhou Shujian's supplies. Please have a look." The sheriff received all Zhou Shujian's supplies and nodded. After the sheriff took the supplies, the confidant rubbed his hands and said, "Sheriff, Zhou Shujian is dead too. Do you think I can give you the supplies as you promised me before? But now I am also your man, Sheriff, and I want to join you and be loyal to you." The sheriff smiled slightly. In the traitor's incredible eyes, a knife stabbed into his chest. He originally thought that he could follow the sheriff to rise to prominence, but he didn't expect that this would be the result. He looked at the sheriff in disbelief and wanted to speak, but blood soon gushed out of his mouth. Blocking his mouth, the sheriff looked at the body lying in front of him and said coldly, "I don't like traitors. You can betray Zhou Shujian today and you can betray me tomorrow. So, your death is the best choice. You clean up the bodies in the yard and feed them to the zombies." After the sheriff ordered his men to deal with the battlefield, he stopped looking at the dead Zhou Shujian and others and walked into the yard. The next day, the news that Zhou Shujian was wiped out by the sheriff spread. Once again, many survivors were shocked. This sheriff is different from ordinary people who have wiped out the forces of two opponents in succession. Even Chen Dong was a little surprised. He has also had contact with Zhou Shujian and Niu Ziqiang, judging from the fact that they can take out so many living supplies to participate in the auction. Their strength is still very strong. Unexpectedly, it didn't take long for the sheriff to kill him. Chen Dong didn't know what happened. He just thought that the sheriff had very powerful combat weapons, even guns. Otherwise, how could he kill Zhou Shujian and Niu Ziqiang so quickly? Just when Chen Dong was thinking about these questions, there was an application in the private chat window. Clicked it and saw that it was a familiar number 12315-10086, I am the sheriff. Chen Dong frowned. Why did this sheriff suddenly come to the door? Now the sheriff is like a disaster star. Chen Dong doesn't want to have anything to do with him. Chapter 35, Refusing to be recruited is either a friend or an enemy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is something wrong? Want to buy something? The police chief then sent a voice message, 10086, I sincerely invite you to join my team. Apart from me, you will be the one who speaks the truth in the team from now on. I know you have plenty of supplies, but zombies will only become more and more powerful in the future, and only by joining forces can we survive. 10086, join us. After listening to this voice, Chen Dong laughed out loud. This police chief is probably not the lecturer who came out of the Southern Sunshine Project. This pie is painted with rings within each other. Chen Dong asked himself whether he could survive the doomsday world with Xia Anqi. What's more, he also has unlimited supplies, which is absolutely bug level. Why join the sheriff's team? The police chief is an old man. Does he have subsistence allowance? Therefore, Chen Dong responded without any hesitation, that's a good point, but I refuse. The police chief who is expanding his power is very interested in Chen Dong. After all, 10086 can be said to be rich in materials for all to see. If we can win over 10086, this will be a very powerful help to the entire team. Perhaps, you won't have to worry about survival supplies in the short term. However, he never expected that Chen Dong would refuse his invitation so simply. Faced with this situation, the sheriff was not reconciled. He believed that the reason why Chen Dong did not agree was that it was unnecessary. Then you will understand it with emotion and move it with reason. 10086, you have to know that the zombie wave will start soon, and higher level zombies will appear one after another. Your supplies are indeed sufficient. I admit this, but can you guarantee that the supplies will always be sufficient? Can you maintain it all the time? To resist the zombie wave behind? You know, this is likely to be a long process. Although Chen Dong would not confess to the police chief, he still needed to prevaricate. The sheriff still cares about me, thank you. However, you are worrying too much. I am not arrogant, but I have absolute confidence that I can still survive in the apocalyptic world in the future. So, don't waste your time on me. The sheriff continued, 10086, I hope you will think about it again. I will say something ugly beforehand. If we can't be friends, then sooner or later, we will become enemies. I don't want that day to come. The constant temptations had no effect on Chen Dong, so the police chief began to threaten him, hoping that he would bow his head. However, the sheriff just gave it a try and didn't hold out much hope. He always felt that Chen Dong was not so easy to give in. Sure enough, after Chen Dong read the message, he replied directly, the police chief's coercion and inducement are really good, both soft and hard. But it's a pity, I won't accept this trick. I'm going to say something ugly in front of you. As long as you don't provoke me, I don't care about you or the police detective. We don't offend anyone. But if you provoke me, don't blame me for being ruthless. The police chief frowned when he saw Chen Dong's message. Why does this 10086 look like a stone? It seems that there is no way to win over. Since we cannot be friends, we can only become enemies. If it were in the past world, the sheriff would naturally not be so extreme. If he could not be a friend, he would be an enemy, but in today's apocalyptic world, any survivor who has sufficient supplies and is close to himself is a great threat to himself. Therefore, the moment Chen Dong chose not to join, the police chief decided to put Chen Dong on the blacklist. If you can't get it, kill it. So what if supplies are abundant? As long as I kill you, won't you become my material? After all, if you don't have poison, you won't have a husband. The stinger next to him saw the sheriff frowning and not saying anything. He guessed that the negotiation with 10,086 might not be good, and asked, Chief, is there any place where I can be used? Stinger is the leader of the special operations team formed by the sheriff within his own team. Everyone in their special operations team still uses a code name. It seems that before they came to this apocalyptic world, they were already the chief's subordinates. Therefore, the sheriff can make a fortune quickly with this special operations team. The sheriff sighed and rubbed his temples. This 10086 is like a stone in a cesspit. There is no way to talk about it. To be honest, I don't really want to be his enemy. Stinger nodded with deep approval and said with some fear, indeed, 10086 was able to come up with so many supplies when he auctioned the fortress walls before. Presumably, he will have more supplies now, even more than we can imagine. However, Sheriff, you don't have to worry. Our team is strong and there are a steady stream of survivors joining us. As long as you give us time, the weak 10086 has nothing to fear. That the sheriff cracked his knuckles. He would do this subconsciously when he was thinking about a problem. After a long time, the police chief slowly spoke. 10086, we can leave it alone for the time being and wait until our wings are full before we make a decision. The most important thing now is to do everything possible to expand our team. You go and promote it to the outside world. As long as you come, you will have food. Stinger was suddenly embarrassed. Their team's supplies could not actually support the supply of so many survivors. The Stinger was cautious and said in a tactful tone, Captain, recruiting more survivors to join the team can certainly quickly improve our strength in the short term, but it may be a bit difficult for us to bear the supply of a large number of survivors. The sheriff smiled and looked at the Stinger, motioning him to sit on the sofa next to him. After taking a sip of tea and moistening his throat, he said, Stinger, I know what you mean. We don't have that much food, but this is not a problem. In fact, they have been strong recently and have also plundered the supplies of the dead Niu Ziqiang and Zhou Shujian. Food is not in short supply, it's just that it's difficult to support the rapid expansion of the team. The Stinger was very puzzled when he heard this. Captain, I don't quite understand. The sheriff laughed and said, Stinger, do you know how Germany fought all over Europe in World War II? The Stinger was stunned, and then remembered the teacher's explanation when he took military courses in college, and suddenly realized it. You want to fight to support the war. We have recruited a large number of survivors. As long as we can sustain the short-term food supply, we can collect supplies on a large scale and distribute them uniformly later. Then, we can operate like a perpetual motion machine. The sheriff smiled and nodded. This was exactly the plan in his mind. Chapter 36 Good food is never too late. Nurse costume. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sergeant played with the teacup that had been drained of tea and said calmly, Yes, as long as our team is functioning, zombies cannot stop us from searching for supplies. Besides, when killing zombies, there will always be casualties. Duji stood up excitedly and said respectfully, Chief, I understand what to do. I'm going to spread the news and do a secondary publicity to get the survivors to come closer to us. The police chief smiled and said, Go ahead, I'll leave this matter to you. Soon, Stinger posted the news on the chat channel, number 125034, Dear survivors, I am the Stinger of the sheriff's team. Our team once again sincerely invites all survivors to join us. At present, we have conquered a new zombie group and obtained a large amount of food supplies. We promise that as long as join our team and everyone will have enough food and water. We are here to welcome everyone. Number 343565, damn it, there are enough food and water supplies. My heart is beating. Number 566432, I'm going to join the sheriff. I can't survive alone. I feel like there are more and more zombies, and I can't stand it anymore. Number 234345, have you ever formed a team to report to the sheriff? Let's go together. Number 345343, haha, let's forget it. Let's go our separate ways and go to the police chief to join a team. Now let's report together. I'm afraid there will be a fairy dance and we will just lead the dog. Number 233452, that's right, I don't dare to show my back to survivors who are not teammates. It would be fun to suddenly give you a cold shot. Number 345366, haha, even if you are a teammate, you have to see if you can trust it. I had a teammate before, and they deliberately attracted zombies to kill me in the middle of the night. After I escaped death, I ended the team and killed him directly. Oh shit. Number 287484, is there anyone who wants to team up with me? Let's team up and eat and drink well together. Number 387322, why should I team up with you? Wouldn't it be nice to join the police chief? Number 23434, I really don't think it smells good. There must be a lot of people signing up at the sheriff's place. Instead of going there to make a living, it's better to form a team with a few survivors who have some strength. When the time comes, get the supplies and distribute them to your hands. More. Number 423534, that makes sense. Add me. The sheriff started a trend where survivors who had not signed up to join a group began to join together. In an environment where zombies are becoming more and more numerous and ferocious, ordinary survivors will soon be swallowed up by the zombies if they do not huddle together for warmth. Therefore, in addition to many survivors who went to seek refuge with the sheriff, there were also many people who had certain supplies and were fairly powerful who chose to recruit some survivors to form their own group. This is a wave, an inevitable wave. Chen Dong is also diving in the chat channel. Naturally, he had anticipated this trend. After all, not all survivors are as lucky as themselves. With unlimited supplies of supplies, Chen Dong himself can be the biggest force. Xia Anqi looked at the message and said with some worry, Chen Dong, do we also need to recruit some other survivors? If there is a zombie wave or high-level zombies in the future, the two of us can stop it. Chen Dong smiled, pinched Xia Anqi's cheek, and said with a smile, can you have some confidence in me? Our supplies are absolutely sufficient. Moreover, our strength is not bad, and we are even relatively high up. Recruiting teammates is a very cautious matter. We must find people who are of the same mind as us. It is not that easy. We can only talk about this later. After hearing this, Xia Anqi sighed and nestled into Chen Dong's arms, feeling helpless. It's so difficult. With the beauty in his arms, Chen Dong was a little ready to make a move. I was interrupted twice before, and then because of the successive battles, I had no time to think about these things. Nowadays, it is rare for me to take some leisure time, and I feel like I can't live up to myself if I don't do something. Chen Dong gently teased Xia Anqi's earlobe and said, Anqi, I have a lot of small umbrellas in my backpack. Let's use a few to clear the inventory today. Xia Anqi was a little surprised when she heard this, but mostly shy. What does it mean that there are too many small umbrellas in the backpack? How many should I use to clear the inventory? What are these words? Xia Anqi thought to herself, her whole face turned red. Little did he know that his actions added a bit of charm, but at this time, Xia Anqi gently pushed him away. Chen Dong's heart skipped a beat and he asked in confusion, what's wrong? Don't you want to? Xia Anqi shook her head desperately in denial. It's not that I don't want to, please wait for me for a while. Xia Anqi suddenly stood up and ran back to the room, not knowing what to do. Chen Dong was a little helpless. There is a big beauty in front of me, and I have to use the fifth girl to deal with it, right? That's really too Chow Dan. However, Xia Anqi went downstairs quickly. At this time, she was wearing a nurse's uniform that was as white as snow and compact in size, standing barefoot in front of Chen Dong, pure desire. Chen Dong was stunned and could only think of such a word in his mind. Okay, does it look good? Xia Anqi felt a little uncomfortable when she saw that Chen Dong hadn't spoken for a long time. Just looking straight at her, Chen Dong wanted to cough to ease the atmosphere, but he found that he was gasping for air and couldn't cough. It looks good. Kathy asked again, do you like it? Although I prefer maids, the nurses also like it. Kathy smiled with satisfaction. She tucked her hair that she hadn't had time to tie up when she changed clothes, and put it behind her ears, saying shyly, as long as you like it. Chen Dong picked up Kathy by the waist, walking steadily. He was not in a hurry, that would make him look less stable. By the way, this dress, where did you get it from? Chen Dong asked suddenly. Kathy was a little embarrassed, but she still told the truth. I bought it last time. I thought I would use it last time, but I didn't expect it to be so many days later. Walking to the bedroom, Chen Dong kicked the door open and gently threw Kathy on the soft and comfortable big bed. It's okay, good things are worth it. Chapter 37 The Second Pistol, Shooting Training. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a post-apocalyptic world, small umbrellas are definitely hard currency. After all, people nowadays are under a lot of pressure and need to vent. What's more, now there are many people using their bodies in exchange for supplies. Thanks to Chen Dong, he got unlimited small umbrellas. Otherwise, it would have been sold out long ago, so why would it be my turn to use it? Facts have proved that even if the theoretical knowledge is fully learned, practice is completely different. An hour of mosaic. The two of them were leaning against the bed, cuddling against each other. At this point, the two of them were completely committed to each other. Chen Dong suddenly took out a pistol from his backpack and handed it to Xia Anqi. Let this pistol be our token of love. Nowadays, there are more and more zombies, and your crossbow is a bit difficult to use. With a pistol, your survivability can be improved to a higher level. Xia Anqi did not take it, but pushed it into Chen Dong's arms, shaking her head and refusing to accept it. I took the pistol. What do you do? You are our main output, and this pistol is more useful for you. Chen Dong kissed Xia Anqi's forehead, handed the pistol to Xia Anqi's hand again, and said dotingly, you little fool, take a closer look, this pistol is not my P92 pistol. Xia Anqi took the pistol and looked at it carefully. Sure enough, there were some differences from the P92 that Chen Dong usually used. Chen Dong continued, this pistol and my P-bullet. I scanned them on the trading platform yesterday. I planned to give them to you in the next 2 days, but now I just have them. The current trading platform has begun to trade firearms and ammunition, as well as combat supplies such as grenades and incendiary bombs. Compared with the sky-high price at the beginning, it has dropped somewhat. However, the price is still very high. Ordinary survivors still can't get too much. If they can have a few Molotov cocktails nearby, they are considered rich, but for Chen Dong, these are not problems. While others were still hesitating, Chen Dong took the pistol directly. After all, he had so many unlimited supplies on him, so he didn't have to worry about food and water. What he lacked was a large amount of combat supplies. You know, Xia Anqi is still using crossbow arrows. The damage is okay when hitting survivors, but it has little effect on zombies unless it's a headshot. At close range, Chen Dong has also discovered that as time goes by, the levels of survivors have improved, the types of supplies have gradually become richer, and the zombies have begun to strengthen. As Xia Anqi's teammate, Chen Dong has to prepare a gun for her. At least for now, pistols can still be considered a magic weapon. After hearing this explanation, Xia Anqi took the pistol and put it in her backpack. She hugged Chen Dong happily and said sweetly, thank you, Lao Chen. Chen Dong gang mailed thousands of rounds of 9mm bullets to Xia Anqi to ensure that she would not be short of ammunition. Suddenly being hugged by Xia Anqi, I couldn't bear it, and my mind began to wander again. You can't do anything without practice. You have to show it with actions. After getting the gun, Xia Anqi needs to practice marksmanship. Unlike the crossbows we learned before, the pistol has a certain recoil, and you need to learn to adapt and press the gun. Chen Dong took Xia Anqi and drove to a small woods. it's not far from the villa area, so there aren't many zombies, so it's just right for gun practice. Chen Dong took out a homemade puppet, tied it to a wooden stick, and inserted it 10 meters away. After placing the gun target, he walked to Xia Anqi. "Anqi, let's practice with the 10-meter target first. Once you're familiar with it, we'll continue to lengthen the distance. You have experience using crossbows before, so it shouldn't be difficult to get used to it." Xia Anqi loaded the ammunition and nodded. "No problem, it's up to me." Chen Dong instructed Xia Anqi on how to hold the gun correctly, and after getting into a good posture, he asked her to shoot. Xia Anqi, who had just started to get into contact with guns, could not hit the ideal position, but as she became more proficient and learned how to press the gun and use the recoil, as well as the accuracy she developed while learning crossbows, Xia Anqi got started quickly. Snapped. Snapped. 2 shots hit the bullseye. Chen Dong applauded from the side. Xia Anqi's 30-meter fixed target can already be hit very accurately, the rest is a moving target in actual combat. "Anqi, that's great. Your talent is much better than mine. If you practice more with the moving target, you will be able to kill both men and women at the zombie base camp." Xia Anqi curled her lips. "I don't want to call him a male and female evil spirit, like a nickname for a villain." Chen Dong smiled and said, "Okay, let's think of a nice nickname in the future." After that, Chen Dong continued to help Xia Anqi practice moving targets. After Xia Anqi mastered the skills of using guns, the moving target was not too difficult for her, and she quickly started shooting. Zhang Zihao is very proud. Recently, in this post-apocalyptic world, he contacted the original loser Ergu. At this time, he was planning to call Ergu over to be his helper. Zhang Zihao has always been uncomfortable with coming to this zombie world. He came from a wealthy family. In the past, when he came to eat, he opened his mouth and stretched out his hands, and countless women surrounded him. But after coming to this world, he failed to organize forces and live a comfortable life like Zhou Shujian. Instead, they eat and sleep in the open air, and eat when they are hungry and when they are full. Luckily, within 2 days, he met Tian Xiaoyu, the school beauty he had been coveting since college. Because they knew each other before, they naturally became teammates. In the process, Zhang Zihao naturally had evil thoughts and wanted to take advantage of Tian Xiaoyu. However, this was a hard bone to chew, and he was not allowed to touch it at all. After getting in touch with Chen Dong, Tian Xiaoyu would smile every time they chatted and bought supplies from time to time. It can be seen that Tian Xiaoyu was really happy. Zhang Zihao was very unbalanced. "Why? Why have I never seen you smile so happily around me? When chatting with Chen Dong, you smile like a woman in love. Why, Chen Dong, a poor loser, can be so powerful in the doomsday world and become a great god in the survivor circle." 10,086. Why? Chapter 38 Zhang Zihao's Lackey, Ambitious. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Every night, Zhang Zihao thought about these things bitterly, tossing and turning and unable to sleep. Especially Chen Dong. In the past, he never took this stinky loser seriously, because they were never people of the same class. Living in the same dormitory was the only intersection of their lives, but such a Chen Dong, after coming to the doomsday world, could actually afford the sky-high price of the barrier wall. He could actually live so comfortably, with electricity and a villa, and no worries about food and drink. On the other hand, he had to rely on the exchange of materials between Tian Xiaoyu and Chen Dong for support. What was he? A beggar? Zhang Zihao could not accept this fact. "One day, I will train you, Tian Xiaoyu, into my toy, and Chen Dong, I will dry you into bacon and feed the zombies." This is Zhang Zihao's deepest thought, but there was no chance to realize it, until one day, he saw a survivor bragging on the chat channel, and the bragging was very realistic. The more he looked at it, the more it looked like something he had done before, so, he privately chatted with the survivor. Only then did he realize that the other person was his former lackey Ergu. Ergu also excitedly sent a message. "Boss, I didn't expect you to come to this doomsday world. I really didn't expect it. Boss, where are you? I'll come to find you right away." Zhang Zihao was also a little surprised. In the doomsday world, Ergu was still loyal to him. This greatly satisfied his vanity. "Ergu, I have food and drinks here, come quickly." I'll pull you into my team, and we'll share positions. When the time comes, the team will grow and become stronger, and you, the veteran, will definitely benefit from it. Ergu quickly accepted Zhang Zihao's invitation to form a team. He looked at the coordinate distance between the two people, which was not far or near. It would take some time to get there. Ergu sent a message saying, "It's a bit far, but don't worry, boss, I'll come right away. Please wait for me patiently for 2 days, I'll leave now." Zhang Zihao retracted the chat window. A beautiful picture of the future has emerged in his mind. As soon as Ergu arrived, he immediately recruited soldiers and continued to grow and develop. Soon, he became a figure who kept pace with the sheriff. By then, let alone the sheriff, even Chen Dong would be ignored by him. By then, wouldn't Tian Xiaoyu be in his pocket? Zhang Zihao looked at Tian Xiaoyu who was resting not far away, and his heart was burning. He approached quietly and looked at the charming face of Tian Xiaoyu who was sleeping soundly. Even wearing a special forces combat uniform, it was difficult to hide her good figure. He couldn't help but reach out his hand and wanted to touch Tian Xiaoyu's face, but at this moment, Tian Xiaoyu suddenly woke up from her deep sleep. He opened his eyes and immediately grabbed Zhang Zihao's hand. Zhang Zihao was stunned. Then, he showed a smile that he thought was kind and sunny and said, "Xiaoyu, are you awake? Why don't you sleep for a while?" Tian Xiaoyu sat up, smiled slightly, but moved Zhang Zihao's hand away without a sound. "I can't sleep because I'm always worried about danger." Zhang Zihao didn't think too much and continued, "Xiaoyu, don't worry. If there is any danger, I will stand in front of you." Tian Xiaoyu looked at Zhang Zihao meaningfully, and then smiled and said, "Thank you, Zhang Zihao." Zhang Zihao was very happy to hear this. "I thought to myself, this bitch finally realized that I am the most reliable." Tian Xiaoyu continued, "We don't have much supplies for life. I have to find Chen Dong to buy some more food and water." Zhang Zihao heard it and lowered his head in silence. He was panting and felt a little dizzy. In the end, he couldn't help it after all. He cursed loudly, Chen Dong, it's Chen Dong again. You keep calling him Chen Dong, but who is he? He's just a loser. He's poorer than me. What were the gifts he gave you on your birthday before? The handicrafts he made himself, the small ornaments he bought on the street, can they be compared with the things I gave you? Now he's just living a carefree life in the doomsday world for the time being. After a while, I will form a team and expand the scale. I want him to lick my ass in front of me." Tian Xiaoyu was frightened by Zhang Zihao's sudden outburst, and silently stepped back a few steps to keep a safe distance from him. "Zhang Zihao, you are a little paranoid. Chen Dong is our college classmate and your former roommate. Now that Chen Dong can help us, we should be grateful, not repaying kindness with enmity." Zhang Zihao laughed with disdain on his face. "Roommate? I never considered Chen Dong as my roommate. I felt dirty living with him for 2 years. He's just a low-level bug. Would I consider him my friend?" Fortunately, he packed his bags and went out to live outside in his sophomore year. Otherwise, I would have found the counselor to kick him out sooner or later. Tian Xiaoyu was slightly stunned. It was the first time she knew that there was such a deep entanglement between Zhang Zihao and Chen Dong. No wonder Chen Dong asked her to be extra careful of Zhang Zihao before. She just thought that Zhang Zihao's arrogant behavior made Chen Dong uncomfortable. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zihao used to think of Chen Dong like this in private. Presumably, Chen Dong was the one who was isolated in the dormitory before. Tian Xiaoyu was inexplicably angry and said, "Chen Dong is my good friend. I don't allow you to say that about him. A person's origin cannot be changed, but Chen Dong has continuously taken root in the big city through his own efforts, and even bought a house with a down payment in 2 years. In my opinion, he is very good." Zhang Zihao's eyes turned red when he saw Tian Xiaoyu actually speaking for Chen Dong. He grabbed Tian Xiaoyu's shoulders and said viciously, "Good friend? I think you like him, right? You didn't accept anyone in 4 years of college, just because of the guy. Huh? I was wondering, why do you always show up at every party where Chen Dong is present, and you can't be called like a fairy at other times?" Zhang Zihao became more and more excited as he spoke, and veins on his forehead were exposed. Just wait, I will kill Chen Dong one day. Zhang Zihao, keep my word, I will kill him. Tian Xiaoyu felt a little pain in her pinched shoulder, and took out a military dagger from her backpack and held it in front of her. Zhang Zihao, don't force me. Stimulated by the cold light of the dagger, Zhang Zihao calmed down with a shudder. He let go of her hand and explained awkwardly, Xiaoyu, I didn't mean that. I was just a little excited. Please forgive me, okay? Tian Xiaoyu said coldly, I will pretend that I didn't hear what you said just now. I hope you can control your emotions in the future. Now, I'm going out to collect supplies. Zhang Zihao said quickly, Xiaoyu, I will go with you. It's not safe for you to go alone. Tian Xiaoyu didn't even turn his head. No, you should have a good rest. I'm just collecting supplies nearby. There's no danger. Then, he walked straight out of the small shabby house where they lived. Chapter 39 Sorry, typo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Currently, Tian Xiaoyu still needs Zhang Zihao as a teammate. She really can't guarantee her survival in the apocalyptic world by herself. Therefore, even if Zhang Zihao dislikes her very much, if the two of them form a team, they can at least have someone to take care of him. But now, Zhang Zihao felt restless that she didn't expect. Tian Xiaoyu always felt that Zhang Zihao would attack him sooner or later. The previous few times, it was all because she refused to agree. Otherwise, Zhang Zihao, who has always been lustful, would have eaten her long ago, and today, Tian Xiaoyu almost broke his face, which made Tian Xiaoyu a little worried. It would be great if my teammate was Chen Dong. Tian Xiaoyu opened the chat window with Chen Dong and subconsciously said, Chen Dong, it would be great to have you by my side. In the past few days, Chen Dong has been buying information from other survivors, around the villa area. As more and more survivors arrived, the output of supplies dropped sharply. Only then did I choose to buy information. The good thing is that most of the information currently being sold is silver-level supply boxes or small groups of zombies, which is very suitable for Chen Dong, with some daily necessities, some bread and some water. You can change to the silver level, and even have the opportunity to exchange for the gold level materials. Chen Dong did not feel that he was losing money at all, or even making a profit. However, there are still too few gold level supplies. Since the last time he got the gasoline generator, he hasn't been able to see the information about the gold level supply box. Of course, it is also possible that other forces that have formed a group will learn about it in advance. After all, the number of survivor teams, with the sheriff being the most powerful, is overwhelming. Therefore, Chen Dong was drinking a drink at this time, opening the chat channel and scrolling slowly, carefully watching every message. Ding! A private chat pop-up window appeared, showing a message from Tian Xiaoyu. During this period, Tian Xiaoyu has been keeping in touch with Chen Dong. Tian Xiaoyu used some of the few supplies to exchange living supplies with Chen Dong. A bundle of firewood is exchanged for 20 loaves of bread, 2 lighters are exchanged for 10 bottles of water, and so on. The two have also regained their original friendship as classmates and are as familiar as before. But when he clicked on Tian Xiaoyu's chat box and saw the chat message, Chen Dong almost spit out a mouthful of soda. Such ambiguous words really caught him off guard. I couldn't help but think wildly. Chen Dong blinked and quietly looked at Xia Anqi, who had just gone upstairs. Then, without changing his expression, he replied with a message. After the message is sent, it will be displayed as read. As a result, the message Tian Xiaoyu sent was immediately withdrawn. When Tian Xiaoyu sent a message to Chen Dong by mistake, Tian Xiaoyu was still in a daze, thinking about the past. It wasn't until Chen Dong sent a message that the notification sound woke her up. Tian Xiaoyu saw the message she sent and quickly clicked to withdraw it. Fortunately, the time interval between sending messages is not long and they can be withdrawn. If she couldn't, she would feel ashamed to see Chen Dong. Tian Xiaoyu blushed and sent a message to explain. Sorry, I made a typo. Chen Dong was inexplicably funny. Are you going to exchange supplies with me again today? Tian Xiao pursed his lips. I want to chat with you, can't I? The only thing left between us is transaction. That when Chen Dong saw the message, he seemed to see Tian Xiaoyu's resentment. Quite interesting. Chen Dong quickly looked careless. Haha, it's okay. We are classmates. You can chat with me at any time. Occasionally, I can also treat you as an emotional trash can. But you have to pay more. Tian Xiaoyu sighed. It turns out that you really just treat me as a friend. However, this is probably where Chen Dong is different from other boys. I look very good. Tian Xiaoyu has known about this matter for a long time. Since childhood, the boys in the class were too embarrassed to talk to her. There are also piles of love letters from the next class. When I was a child, I might still feel a little proud, but as he grows older, Tian Xiaoyu only feels that the boys around him are too superficial. She doesn't like it. Until I met Chen Dong, it was the first time she met a boy who was indifferent to her. It happened before, but it was just a pretense in an attempt to attract attention. At first, Tian Xiaoyu thought Chen Dong was this kind of boy, but as time passed, it was discovered that Chen Dong really seemed to have no other thoughts about her. Unfortunately, this boy doesn't seem to like her. Coming from a poor family, he has no interest in romance and only wants to get ahead. Tian Xiaoyu remembered that when she tentatively asked Chen Dong what kind of partner he planned to find in the future, he only got a naughty and self-deprecating animated emoticon from the other party. I don't have time to listen to bullshit love stories now, I just want to make money now. Chapter 40 Bai Xue comes again, Tang's sword blueprint. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tian Xiaoyu smiled bitterly. She shook off her lingering thoughts and sent a new message. Forget it. Now I still need Chen Dong's help for daily necessities. I'll just swallow my anger, but I can't afford more money. Crying expression. However, I'm running out of daily necessities recently, and I want to exchange some with you. Chen Dong, okay. I used the firewood you gave me before, and I burned a lot of zombies. Tian Xiaoyu was silent for a while. Chen Dong, can you sell me some weapons? I need them more. Chen Dong frowned after reading the message. You know, Tian Xiaoyu didn't take the initiative to ask for these things before. They were all daily necessities, such as rice, noodles, water, and bread, except for the crossbows and Molotov cocktails that Chen Dong took the initiative to give out. Tian Xiaoyu never mentioned them again. Now, Tian Xiaoyu took the initiative to ask for weapons, so something must have happened. This made Chen Dong a little worried. He hung some crossbows, gasoline, Molotov cocktails and several grenades on the trading window between the two. He typed and asked, "What's wrong? Is there any danger around you? Zombies or survivors? Do you need me to come over to help? I have a car now, and I can still get to your place in half a day." Tian Xiaoyu received the supplies sent by Chen Dong, and saw Chen Dong's caring words, and a slight arc appeared on the corner of her mouth. Then, she sent a message. There are not too many zombies around me, and the area I am in is relatively safe. Chen Dong didn't understand. What's the situation? Tian Xiaoyu sent a message again. It's Zhang Zihao. He has been a little bit wrong recently. I'm not very reassured. Then, she told Chen Dong about Zhang Zihao's riot today and all the remarks he made. Zhang Zihao has been getting more and more irritable recently. Today, after learning that I was going to continue trading materials with you, he threatened me not to have any contact with you again. In addition, he threatened to kill you. He has already shown an aggressive tendency towards me today, so I have to be vigilant. So arrogant and still want to kill me. Seeing this, Chen Dong smiled with some disdain. It is no exaggeration to say that if he wants to kill Zhang Zihao, this waste, just one hand is enough to stand still. It seems that Zhang Zihao really has some bad intentions. Be careful, if you need any help, you can find me. Also, if Zhang Zihao really does something excessive to you, don't be soft-hearted. Tian Xiaoyu enjoyed Chen Dong's concern very much, even though she knew that Chen Dong was just acting from the standpoint of a good friend. I know, I am not that kind-hearted. Let's not talk for now, it's getting late, and I have to go back to the shelter. Chen Dong and Tian Xiaoyu said goodbye to each other and ended the chat. However, neither of them knew that there was another old classmate they knew well, who was rushing towards Zhang Zihao and the others without stopping. At night, the bright moon in the sky illuminated the forest. On the roof of a dilapidated house, sat a thin and tall man in black. He was hiding from the zombies at night, and this place could provide him with a safe place to rest and replenish energy. The thin and tall man looked at the location sharing that was getting closer and closer on the system panel, and after biting a piece of bread, he murmured, "Boss, wait a little longer, I'll be here soon." At this time, Chen Dong received a message. 10086, I have a Tang sword blueprint here. As long as you ask, I will sell it to you. Chen Dong felt a little strange. The Tang sword didn't seem to be a high-level material, but a silver-level cold weapon. He had obtained a Tang sword before. Although it was sharp, it was just sharp, nothing special. Looking at the person who sent the message, it turned out to be Bai Xue, who almost cheated Chen Dong by selling gold-level material box information last time. Chen Dong was a little confused, so, without thinking, he directly replied, "No, I'm not interested." Bai Xue was a little anxious when she saw this message. It's not that she hadn't recommended this Tang sword blueprint to other customers with purchasing power, but when they heard the transaction conditions, they all shook their heads immediately, thinking it was too harsh. But Chen Dong was different. Bai Xue had contacted Chen Dong and knew that Chen Dong was a big moneymaker. If Chen Dong didn't want this Tang sword blueprint, it would really rot in his hands. Bai Xue's team was short of materials and urgently needed to sell some materials to exchange for daily supplies. This is not an ordinary Tang sword blueprint. Did you know that this blueprint can be used 20 times? Recyclable. Moreover, this kind of Tang sword has a passive attribute, critical hit, which will cause an additional 30% damage when used against zombies. Good stuff. 10086, I came to you because of our old friendship. Only a ghost would have a friendship with you. You are lucky that I didn't kill you last time. However, Chen Dong still re-examined the value of this Tang sword blueprint. If it is really as Bai Xue said, it can produce critical hits against zombies and can be forged 20 times, then he can not only keep some for backup, but also sell it to make a lot of money. After all, things are precious because they are rare. Chen Dong continued to ask, since this Tang sword is so powerful, why don't you keep it for yourself and forge it yourself to sell it for money? That Bai Xue was somewhat helpless and said, there are too many materials for forging Tang Dao, and our team can't afford it. Chen Dong was somewhat tempted. He asked Bai Xue to send the drawing information. After confirming, he replied again, tell me about your trading conditions. I am starting to be interested.